And we're live. So today we have with us Raz Golan, who's the CEO and co-founder of Shopic. It's intelligent retail with the world's smartest shopping cart. If you're joining us for the first time, we're the Entrepreneur's Handbook, and every week we interview top entrepreneurs from across the world, giving their practical insights for you to help you to become a better entrepreneur yourself. So Raz, you got into AI before it was cool, right? What made you get into that area in the first place? Like, what made you so fascinated by it?
Hey, Mark. Yeah, it's good to be here. Yeah, AI, today is very cool. But when we developed our solution, we approached it from a whole different way, right? We didn't look for something cool. We tackled a very big problem that exists for many years in supermarkets, which is checkout lines. Actually, it's multiple problems. It's the way we face or the way we experience the shopping inside the supermarket, which is not optimal to say the least, together with horrible checkout lines and checkout experience in general, together with a lot of challenges that retailers face. Shortages in labor, supply chain disruptions, a lot of economic, roller coasters with inflation going up. We took all of these things and we wanted to bring, big improvements to all of these verticals. And when we started designing, how we are going to solve that, AI and specifically computer vision was actually, a tool that was right on the spot to bring, an optimal solution to life. So today, the core technology of our product is computer vision, and it allows us to basically see everything that's going on around the shopping cart. If it's for user experience purposes, automatically detecting everything that is going in or out of the cart, but also for security purposes. We can tell, if something didn't happen the way it should happen, and basically monitor the cart and make sure everything is paid for as it should be.
Yeah, because it's interesting now. There's so much focus with AI in terms of the chat functionality, right? And many people who are more new to AI will just think about it in that perspective. But obviously, there's so many other applications of it. And when you're building this out in the early days, how did you get that kind of technical expertise to really shine in what you were trying to achieve? Because obviously now everybody, or on LinkedIn at least, everybody's an expert in AI. But when you started with your problem, you had to try and work these things out. And how did you go about building that product?
It definitely was a big challenge. It's always around the right team, right? The people that can make it happen when you only have an idea. I think we were both very focused, but also very lucky. We got to meet extraordinary people that were very interested and passionate about AI and specifically computer vision, that joined our journey and led this whole, technical adventure of building algorithms, training them, getting the data from the, real world. Yeah, there were many, many challenges, but I think the sauce here was getting the right people with the right potential that are ready to, do everything to succeed and just learn very, very quickly, while they have the good background, technological background that allow them to, get to that level. So here specifically, it was algorithms, research, and the ability to stitch many, many things together to get it up and running really quickly, to make sure that it's good, and then, to build it properly once we saw that it makes sense to pursue this.
And there's a few different players in this space, right, with people trying to use AI to try to change the shopping experience. And they're doing things in slightly different ways. What made you choose doing it the way you are? I'll let you explain it, but it's basically more that your device is more portable, right? Whereas a lot of other people, they have to buy an entire shopping cart, which is obviously, it's much more expensive. There's different angles to that. But what was the reason why you decided this is the best route forwards?
Once we got to the point where we, designed and built the vision of, our current product, we had a very good understanding of how the supermarket world is operating. And I think once you understand the core fundamentals of this type of businesses, everything should align, pretty well. So we invested a lot in understanding the market. Where are the real problems? Where retailers are struggling? how they operate their business, what makes them tick on all levels, right? Executives in the headquarters managing the business from a very high level perspective, all the way to the store managers in the supermarket itself, operating, doing the actual operation on the floor, on the sales floor. And, once we mapped all this, we started building, some sort of a requirement list of what must, what's a must have in our platform, what we cannot, succeed without. So we had all those principles. For example, we have to be very operationally optimized, like very lean, not change the infrastructure of the supermarket, not cause more problems, or tasks for the store employees. Make it very seamless for the shoppers, us, the people, the consumers who are going to the supermarket to shop, and so on. So once we had this list, we started, playing with it and to see what we can come up with that will answer all those questions. And our solution was a clip-on device that basically connects to any standard shopping cart and turns it into a smart cart while shoppers are using it. So you as a shopper in a supermarket would enter the store, get one of our devices, connect it to your cart to the area of the handle, and then everything basically happens automatically pretty much. And then once you are, after you completed your shopping journey, when you're ready to pay and leave the store, you just return the device in a special checkout area that is very quick and just pay and leave in a matter of seconds. This way, we are pretty much detached from everything that is, there in the store, like the shopping carts, the infrastructure, the layout, the shelves, and so on. But we're still bringing, a huge impact and manage to change dramatically how, shoppers buy in the store, but also how the store is managing itself. So it was a pretty good sweet spot. We knew it's going to be very hard to implement, but then we took the challenge and brought it to life.
I think that's one of the interesting things. A lot of people are trying to innovate in the AI space, and with any product really, is that sometimes they're trying to require quite significant changes from, like, whether it's employees or the management or customers. And it's interesting the approach you took, and I think it's something which a lot of people can learn from, is that you're actually making it easier, right? You're not trying to say, oh, if you want to use our product, you have to change your entire way you do work. You're making their lives easier. And did you find, like, when you're kind of going into like retail stores and you're showing your product and you're talking to different people about potentially getting Shopic in there, that was a huge advantage? Or what was the things that was really attracting people to be using your product versus the competitors?
Yeah, I think it was the how different it was from the other concept. So basically, today what you see in the world is new carts that are being built as smart carts, requiring quite a lot of changes in the store infrastructure. It brings more costs, and it's just way more complex to implement. And retailers, being grocery retailers, extremely efficient, looking at the bottom line, having very thin margins. I think we're impressed by the way we, approached and how we wanted to solve the problem without making their lives harder. So the way it was, so seamless, I think this was the thing that appealed to them the most.
And obviously you've got some pretty big deals already, right? So you mentioned a few before we started recording. Could you share that with the audience as well?
Just completed the first stage of a very large rollout that we started. That's in Israel, one of the most advanced retailers in the world. It's a chain called Shufersal, and they're the largest grocery retailers in Israel. So there we are live in quite a lot of stores, and we see great results. In addition, we partnered with some of the biggest players in the world. For example, we have a live operation with Walmart and also with Wegmans in the US. That's public, and we have a few more coming up in the near future.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting for a lot of people listening to this right now, is that they might be seeing your technology in their shopping carts pretty soon themselves. And I guess there's obviously be many people from Israel listening to this too, who will be familiar with it, and then they can put, oh, that's the thing that I use and I see all the time. And I think that's one of the cool things about a product such as yourself, where it's a physical thing that people are going to see and interact with, and it can have such a big impact because obviously pretty much everybody in the world is going to need to be grocery shopping at some point, and it can keep growing in the future too. But obviously in the last year or so, AI has taken off massively and it's become a very hot topic. And all of that noise and signal, how's that affected your business? Have you found that it's affected your operations in a big way? Has been more interested in what you're doing? Or has it been you're more siloed away from that?
I think AI made a huge change in our business and in many other businesses. The thing I love about AI, whether it's generative or computer vision, or when you see it in action, it feels like magic. It truly is magical because with us, for example, you take an item from the shelf, you place it in the cart, and the cart knows what it is without you doing anything else. It just recognizes it like a human brain, like a small head sitting on the cart, looking at what is happening, and then telling you, "Yeah, I just saw that you put in a bottle of Sprite," and that's magical. And we love seeing those, first-time users' reactions when they find out that it's truly automatic. Same with generative, right? You ask a question, you get everything laid out, so in such a high level. So that's the biggest impact. But also when you look at it from an industry perspective, we can get to new levels when using this type of technology. Today we recognize items by their visual appearance. Until today you would have to use barcode scanning or physical sensors like RFID to identify products. So it's a huge change in terms of user behavior, maintenance and support, and also what you have to invest in order to bring it to life.
Yeah, and with the general tech scene being so much more interested in AI itself as well, has that impacted like how difficult it is for you to market? It's been made it easier where when you now go to potential clients, because they've heard more about AI and it's more in the news, has that changed that process at all? Or is it a similar process? Because I guess what I'm seeing a lot now at London Tech Week, all these different things, is people hearing with AI, they don't want to fall behind. So have you found that because of, even though ChatGPT isn't necessarily related to computer vision, that's had a knock-on effect that's aided you?
I think that customers are not buying, or moving forward with us or similar solutions because it has AI. They're not trying to look for AI specifically. They want to solve problems that they have in their business. But it's easier today to talk to them about the underlying technology and how complex it is, to get it to life. And they better understand. But AI is just a tool, a mean to get to where we want to get. It's not the end goal.
Hey everyone, I hope you're enjoying the episode so far. If you want to find some of the best lessons from season 1 of this podcast, then you can download our free ebook using the link in the show notes. You'll also get updates multiple times a week from our editors here at Entrepreneur's Handbook, all aimed at helping you become a better entrepreneur and helping you to grow and scale your business. Let's get back to the show. It's already magic in terms of like you drop something in the cart and you can tell what it is. Is it something in the pipeline which you're dreaming of, which you can go further and like even more potential with AI and in the shopping arena?
For sure. Yeah. We are actually, looking at what we're doing as a platform that touches another, very hot areas in retail today. One is retail media networks. It's the ability to communicate with shoppers while they're in the aisles, bring them relevant offers and promotions, and even partner with brands and CPGs, to bring them into this layer of communication. And here you have, many AI capabilities more around bringing the best offer, to the right shopper in the right time. And once you have Shopic, you have, our device on the cart with a huge screen knowing who the shopper is and where they are. So, it can close the loop for all of those players, with that. So yeah, bringing offers has a lot of data and a lot of, it's a whole art of getting it in the right moment, making it just more relevant so everyone benefits. And secondly, we also have the ability to, we use our device as a sensor. So as example, we have cameras not only looking inside the cart, but also cameras looking outwards in order to map the whole store environment, mainly the shelves, things like stock levels, and it's called shelf visibility, right? To know what is going on the shelves for the store to operate more efficiently, so items won't be missing from the shelves, that they will be the items will be placed in the right order as they should be. So here, obviously, relying a lot on computer vision as well, but also layers of optimization, right? Supermarket is just a big hall full of aisles and shelves, and there are a lot of ways to optimize it to get more sales, to get more customer satisfaction, more traffic, and so on. So having this new layer of data brings new AI capabilities that we can use in order to improve everything that is touching.
And like with obviously the success you've had so far, how do you keep innovating? How do you keep like staying ahead of the competition if a lot of people now are seeing AI and machine learning as a area to invest in? How do you keep ahead of them? What process do you have in place within your team to try to do that?
Yeah, that's very important. What we're trying to do all the time is to follow our big vision. Like, where do we want to be 5 years from today? How can we get there? How can we add more layers, more capabilities in order to to be on the top of our game? So it's always pushing the team, to bring more, to think of new ideas, implementing those processes internally in the company. So we always keep track and make sure that we dedicate the time to think, implement, or just test new ideas that come from every employee in the company.
Has there been any ideas that maybe you hadn't thought of or initially where you weren't quite sure about, but then now it's become integral to what you're doing? And whether it was somebody who's high up or quite junior, that it kind of shows that process and work, or where somebody's come up with an idea and that's then worked its way through to the end product. Do you have a good example for us?
Always. Um, yeah, I do have. And actually, I have a good example of the process that we're doing. We just started implementing innovation competitions internally. Not with a fancy prize. The big accomplishment would be to see those ideas implemented with our customers and bringing them more value. It's been a great success. We see our employees engaged and the whole team just thinking of new ideas. We don't filter anything. Any new idea gets its chance, and we have this process of evaluating, and it brings great things to life.
And you mentioned earlier as well, before we started recording, that you've just moved to the US as well. And can you talk us through that process? Like, why did you decide to move to the US, and what's your expansion plans there?
You see it a lot with Israeli companies. So we are, the founders, we are Israelis, right, from Tel Aviv. And this is where we founded the company. A great, place to found companies in general, with a lot of, great investors and just experienced people that you can meet and that will help you, all the way from executors to very successful entrepreneurs, and people that can actually join you and build a company with you. But there's a certain point in a company's life where the focus shifts from building the product to executing commercially, where sometimes, and it's a matter of style, right? You see very successful companies that didn't do it, but getting closer to the market, physically, spending more time, with the customers here, with partners, and just being here physically, is helping us, to just execute faster with our go-to-market on the commercial side. So we took this decision. We opened an office in Boston, in the East Coast, and for now it looks very good. It looks like it brings the value that we hoped it will bring.
And your team's obviously expanded over the years as well. What's your current team size?
We're a little bit more than 90, so let's say around 100 people.
And how have you found that growing process of building out the company and getting more people on board? Because you said like such an important part of what you're doing is that team and having the right people around you. How have you found those right people and brought them on board?
I think this is one of the or probably the most important thing, to surround yourself with the right people. As I mentioned when we discussed how we, implemented and approached the computer vision challenge, it's always a combination of, your network, connections, luck, timing, maybe like everything in life. But it's just being very, not to compromise. That's what I'm trying to say. Setting the bar very, very high on one hand, but also to believe in people where you see the potential. Because, in my opinion, it's all about the character and the drive that you have. And if you have the right drive and the right mindset, you can achieve, everything that you dream about in life. This is the core of entrepreneurship, right? Trying and doing the impossible, starting small and then, building something huge. So this is the kind of people that we are always looking to surround ourselves with this, let's get things done, not be afraid by challenges, and just conquer the world, basically. But, it's easier to do it with a smaller team. Once you pass the 50 employees, I would say, that becomes a much greater challenge, because me specifically, I'm not involved in every employee that is being hired already. We have to, make the machine way more efficient, because time is limited. So management team is a critical part, building this layer in a very, having the right people that you can delegate and really trust to do a lot of things that, me, for example, as CEO was doing in the earlier stages. And then, building those layers accordingly. So once you trust them and they have the right mindset, they can build their divisions or groups, in the right way under them. But it's always keeping, this mindset, making sure that the filter is correct and that, everyone is connected to the vision, to our culture, to, what we want to achieve, just being on top of that.
Yeah, and I think that's what you say. It's so important, and having those right people in place, especially as scaling up now. And with where you are at the moment, with obviously moving to the US, are you looking to hire more people at the moment, or what's your plans in that regard?
Yeah, so as we expand commercially here, we are, expanding our teams as well to support that. Yeah, we are expanding in some areas, operations, product, and a few more areas. Some of the positions are in Israel and some are outside.
Yeah, because what I'm just thinking, there may be some people listening today who've heard your story and heard what you're building and might want to be part of it. So hopefully they can reach out to you or reach out to Shopic, and maybe you get some exciting people from that as well. And looking at Shopic's growth,
That would be great, and I'm always open.
yeah, and looking at Shopic's growth, as you said, like across the country, what's some of the biggest challenges you faced to expand so far, and how did you overcome those to get to where you are?
Yeah, I think every product has its levels of maturity. You start with a nice demo, then there's an initial POC, initial production stage, and then much larger volumes. And every step of the way, there are things that needs to be accomplished. And now when we start entering higher scales deployments, we encounter new things. For example, infrastructure, how to sync between support teams, how to do training in a very efficient way. So it's going more from the challenges of developing the product, in a minimal way possible, but doing it quickly, to how can we build a robust machine that can work in scale, and will require the minimum maintenance possible from the customer side and from our side. So it's a truly different mindset. In the beginning, it's just, let's bring this quickly. Someone asked about this capability. Let's change the demo. Let's do it like this if we believe in this direction. But now it's way more mature, I would say, right? It has to work. It has to be reliable. We're dealing with transactions, processing, payments. We're not processing the payments ourselves, but, being a part of the buying process is very sensitive, obviously. So just doing those things right, in this level of performance, this is our focus at the moment.
And we're going to wrap up fairly soon, but tell me what excites you most about the future of whether it's in your role, what are you looking forward to with Shopic's future?
I think the thing that excites me the most is the level of change that this industry is going through, and I talk about the grocery industry. We are used to buying supermarkets in the same way for many, many years. The biggest thing that happened is self checkout that we all know, but we don't see something big as, for example, Amazon Go, or smart shopping carts like we do, still widespreadly like available in a widespread way. It's still in its early days, but as I see it moving forward, getting more mature, more accepted by shoppers in supermarkets, I really see it, getting to being a commodity, right? We will be able to go to many, many supermarkets and have a smart cart and buy in a way that is so convenient. So, it's very exciting being a part of that process, and looking at a whole industry that is one of the largest in the world shifting and changing. It's just, it's huge for me. So I think we'll see this happening way faster in 23, 24, obviously, and onwards, as not only us, Shopic and other companies in the space are getting more mature and robust, and are more ready, to deploy those smart cards in high scale.
It's interesting as well you brought up the self checkouts, because I remember when they first came in, there was quite a lot of friction with that, right? People didn't really want to use it, and now they're so widespread. And I think that sometimes there is that inertia sometimes in the grocery industry because of its scale, right, and how big it is. And it's interesting now to see like how these trials happening, where I can't remember how long ago self checkouts came in, but at the beginning they were a novelty, whereas now you expect to see it everywhere. And like the same thing will happen with smart cars in the future, where at the moment it's like, oh, like people are surprised by it, like, oh, look, there's a smart car here. But in 10 years' time or 20 years' time, there'll be a whole generation of shoppers who've never even known what we're used to today. And I think that's quite amazing when you think about it, right? Of how what I've grown up on won't maybe even exist in 20 years' time, but that's just what you do. You never go to a checkout. You just have your smart scanner, you go in and you go out, and it's that simple.
Yeah, this is why it's so big, so challenging, but also so exciting. At the core of this process, there is a deep behavioral change that is happening, in how people are buying their groceries. So it takes time, but once it's there, once it's ready, once it's good enough, it's amazing to see how it catches. It's like a fire. So, yeah.
Been great to have a chat with you today, Raz. Is there anything which maybe the audience could reach out to you about where they could potentially help, or what you'd want them to know? Is there any, like, can they go to your website? Should they check you out? Let us know how the audience can get involved.
The website would be a great place to get more information, learn about our activities, open positions, and also get in touch. We'll be happy to discuss with everyone who wants to learn more or discuss an open opportunity.
Thanks so much for coming on.
Amar, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.